Michigan's Morning Show with Michael Patrick Shields.
Michael Patrick Shields is on the air.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Monday to you. It's a pure Michigan Monday, in fact, and we're live from the lobby of Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. Very happy to have you with us as we get started another great summer week. And speaking of travel, a couple of very interesting travel stories making news this morning. But first, let me introduce you to our anchorman, Gary Austin, who is in the American Metal Roof studio back at the state capitol. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Well, where you are, Michael Patrick. First of all, what's the weather like? That's what we want to know.
The American flag that I'm looking at, which is a big, huge, one of the big, huge American flags on the porch, because we're literally just through the window to the porch, is what I call that a flutter, I guess. It's fluttering. It's in between a flutter and a breeze.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. I mean, yeah, it does. And the skies are looking clear. I mean, nice.
No, cloudy.
Cloudy.
A red sky in the morning. Sailors take warning.
All right.
Although the straits are very calm, it looks like. There's no white caps or chop or anything like that. I wish you were sitting here looking at what I'm looking at. Of course, if you're watching on Fox 47, you can see it right now.
Yeah, those of us who are back in other parts of the state, we can just picture it. And those who've been to Mackinac and that part of that wonderful island around the Grand Hotel, that we can just picture where you are, and you're sitting back there enjoying every second of it we can imagine. So that's great.
Yeah, it's by the way, I went to see that movie Super 8 this weekend, the new Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
And it's #1 at the box office, right? And there were 3 Mackinac Island mentions in the movie. 3 times Mackinac Island was mentioned. The line was, Mackinac Island is beautiful at this time of year. Isn't that nice? Pretty good.
You can't beat that publicity. That's terrific.
#1 movie at the box office, and they're talking about Mackinac Island, Steven Spielberg. Super 8 is the name of the movie, in case you're interested in that.
That's neat. Those who are in travel and tourism, behind the scenes, I mean, that sort of thing doesn't happen by accident. There are people behind the scenes actually working at that sort of thing to try to.
There was some product placement involved.
Well, you know what? But if the opportunity arises, those in travel and tourism are not going to turn it down. That sort of stuff, happens behind the scenes. It does.
We should probably get a hold of George Zimmerman this morning and see if maybe there was some product placement involved there, or whether it's just a pure Michigan coincidence, a pure coincidence.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, we'll give it a try. We'll get a hold of George
anyway,
or
no
Dave
matter
Lorenz, or even Tim High at this point, and see if maybe they had something to do with that.
That's no matter how it shows up, doesn't matter as long as it's there, right?
Here's another travel story that's making news this morning. A Michigan tour bus company ordered to cease operations. You know why? 6 people were found in the luggage compartment of a traveling coach. They had mattresses and pillows, and the driver told police there wasn't enough room in the passenger compartment. It was a 235-mile drive to northern Ohio. So it's a tour company out of Gladwin, Michigan, Haynes Tours. And the Motor Carrier Safety Administration said the company's got to be shut down because I guess you can't do that. They say it's unacceptable safety compliance.
Is that right?
You know where they put the luggage down below there and the real...
Yeah, my gosh.
They have people down there with
I've never heard of
such
a thing. Now we've heard of we've heard of people like stowing away, but this is something that the guy who's ever the guy behind the wheel said he had no problem with them.
Yeah, I got no room. I'll put you in steerage down below there.
No kidding.
Must have been noisy and hot down there. There's no air conditioning and probably dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These folks must have been really anxious to get to where they had to go.
How can anyone be anxious to get to northern Ohio? Let's get serious here.
Well, maybe they were heading home.
To get out of northern Ohio, get to Michigan, but they were going the other way.
I don't know, but whatever. I mean, what a rough ride. I can't imagine.
A Brooklyn, New York man said he was thrown off a flight at Detroit Metro Airport Sunday for cursing, and he wants to sue the airline because he said the experience was, quote, humiliating.
Cursing?
He had a layover Sunday afternoon. He was at a cousin's wedding in Kansas City, and he is a TV producer, 37 years old, and children's book author. And he was on an Atlantic Southeast Airlines flight. He'd been waiting at the gate for 45 minutes when he was overheard by a flight attendant telling a passenger next to him, "What's taking so bleeping long to close the overhead compartments?"
That's it.
So the plane taxied to the runway but returned, and police boarded the plane and escorted him off.
Whoa, for using a bad word.
He used the F word twice.
Wow. But no violent notion, nothing
No,
like that?
no.
just
They
the-
said he was being disruptive.
Well, you got nowadays, you got to be careful. Let that be a lesson to those who.
He was
Be careful
hungover,
about their
but not
language.
drunk. He was hungover, but not drunk. And he said he didn't say anything, like other than using the effort. I kind of like it. I think it's a good penalty. What's
Cracking
a
down on that
children's
sort
book
of thing?
author doing using the F word in public where people can hear you?
Well, but
it's
then
not like anyone can avoid it in the confines of an aircraft. You're going
But
to
hang
use
on.
that word?
hang on, freedom of speech. Right?
Yeah, I know. All right, freedom of speech, but that's offensive to people to talk like that. With that
Still
kind
freedom of
language.
speech.
There probably were kids, chances are, with that amount of people on a flight. And, you ought to behave yourself. Act a little civilized when you're in public, don't you think?
Oh, I agree.
He's
I
going
mean,
to
you got to
sue the
behave
airline
yourself.
because he said the F word, and they said, look, we don't want you around here. You look like you're trouble. You sound like you're trouble.
Huh? I don't know. I would guess, though, this thing's obviously headed to court. I would really be surprised. You never know, but I'd be surprised if the court sides against this guy based on a freedom of speech thing. Now, if he said
Well.
something that was designed to, get people to say, if there was some sort of a threat made, a verbal threat, something to maybe threaten that he's going to hurt somebody, there was none of that.
It's going to be security versus your right of speech, which is
That's it.
always
That's
an interesting dilemma for sure.
Sure is. Yep.
LeBron James, King James, didn't get his championship yesterday in the NBA Finals. Dallas
Didn't happen.
Beat the
That's
Heat.
right.
They beat the
Yep.
Heat, and so and the dream team there of Chris Bosh and LeBron James, who took his talents to South Beach. Remember that? Came
Yep.
to an end yesterday. Dirk Nowitzki gets him. He gets the MVP too, and Dallas wins its first ever NBA title, and it happened in Miami too. So it's twice as embarrassing for LeBron James.
You know who's sticking around? Anthony Weiner. There were a lot of folks who were thinking maybe this weekend could be it after all the pressure from. I mean, they were protesting outside one of his offices yesterday in New York at Forest Hills, making
you
a lot of
saying,
people upset.
Anthony Weiner is sticking it out?
Well, no, he's not going anywhere. He says he's going to stay put for now, despite all of those who say he ought to resign.
Mm-hmm.
So Anthony Weiner's still in office. And the Casey Anthony trial. This is moving right along here, and boy, that really is an unusual case, isn't it? It's getting a lot of attention out of Florida these days. And the price of gasoline. What's going on here?
Down.
We figured remember we were doing reports months ago. The experts say by the time summer hits, hang on to your wallets, $5 a gallon plus. Well, we're heading in the other direction. I'm glad to say.
Yeah, me too.
Keeps
Also,
on
the
heading
Chevy
down.
Volt, apparently, for those who don't want to buy so
Yes.
much gas, available nationwide now after the initial
Yep.
test opening, huh?
Yep. And you have more options to choose from as well. And the price on this new Volt, the brand new one coming out, compared to the very first model, which is the old one, they're knocking $1,000 off. How about that?
We're going to talk to
Dynamic.
the super auto executive Bob Lutz later this week. He is the former vice chairman of General Motors and worked for the Chrysler Corporation. His book is called Car Guys versus Bean Counters. He'll be with us later this week. And an expert who says Casey Anthony is definitely guilty later this morning. It's Michael Patrick Shields, Michigan.